Arizona's wildfire season is already underway, and as temperatures increase and the air dries out, things can get rough with winter rains and snows making for more vegetation to burn. Joining us now is John Truitt. He's Fire Management Officer for the Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management. John, it's always a pleasure. We have you every year to kind of talk about the forecast. Usually when we have a lot of rain and a lot of snow, it means for a lot of fire. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, this year with the amount of rains we've had and the intermittent rains we've had, we've got a substantial grass crop, just a continuous grass crop across the lower desert and then the Sonoran Desert. Up high, we had a little bit more snow, so it's going to maybe delay the fire season a little bit, but now that we're drying out, things are starting to catch up. Things are drying out in the higher elevations. The grass crop is just continuous throughout the lower deserts and the Sonoran Desert right now.
So as far as what we've seen so far, and the season has technically started, but I don't think we're in the heavy part yet, but we're seeing a lot of stuff out there, aren't we?
Yeah, we're starting to see fires, with the intermittent winds that we've had.
Yeah.
Wind's been driving those fires through that continuous grass crop. And we're about maybe a week or so from these fires actually carrying through the night now. So we're on the cusp of having some large fires.
Any more or less than you usually see this time of year?
We've had more fires this year, usually at the onset of fire season.
Yeah. When you have lots of snow and you have that snowpack up there, could that possibly delay things because of the slow melt of the, is that possible?
It depends on that slow melt. Did we get increase in temperatures through the spring? And we did have an increase of temperatures up there, so the snow melt didn't last as long as we thought that snowpack would.
Everything we've talked about, though, if you have wind, that makes things obviously worse. I mean, the wind factors in that pretty much, doesn't it?
The wind's the driver of the fire. The fuels can drive it, create its own wind, but the winds that we've had just carry it on and keep that spread going, and that it's able for the fire to find that fuel of opportunity because of the winds that are created.
Is there any indication of it being a shorter or longer than usual season?
Yeah, with Randy here, it's going to be a longer season. We're going to have that, usually we call it a season-ending event when the monsoons come in, but that's going to be a very short duration, probably not going to be beneficial to rehydrate the vegetation, and that's going to bring an onset of an early fire, a fall fire season.
Interesting. And the monsoon is a blessing, but it can also be a curse. Those dry storms are just terrible, aren't they?
Right. With the last forecast we had, that if it's a short, you're going to get these high-based thunderstorms that are going to produce dry lightning.
So overall, the wildfire season starts when and ends when?
The more busier part of the season will start about late mid-March, but again, we have wildfires all year long.
Right.
So, and like I said previously, right now we're getting those fires to burn into the night, but soon they're going to start carrying. So you're going to get real active fire season for the next 6 to 8 weeks.
So as far as fire mitigation efforts, I think I saw the USDA had federal funds in here some way, shape, or form to help. Is that making a difference? Is that helping out?
It is. With the department, our forestry shop. We have the Healthy Forest Initiative. With the amount of money that's coming into some of these bills, infrastructure bill and bipartisan, we're receiving a lot of funds and a lot of partnership with the federal our partners, Forest Service and whatnot. So we're treating a lot of acres right now.
I was going to say, forest management is such a big deal, and I think anyone who's been to the high country may have seen controlled burns going here and there, low levels. Are they making a difference?
We've been so out of balance for so long, it's going to take a while to get there. So it's all about putting that treatment in a strategic area.
Yeah, yeah. As far as what we can do as residents, mitigation efforts, folks in the high country, folks in the deserts, best advice, what should be done?
Just be cautious. Right now, particularly down in Pinal, they've got a burn ban going on. That's what's all of our causes are human cause. Just be careful when you're out there doing your mitigation yourself. You're mowing your lawns, doing any type of welding, anything like that. Make sure you have a good clear area, good safe area, and good tools to knock that thing down if it does start.
And defensible, if in the high country especially, a defensible area around homes and cabins and stuff, that's required, isn't it?
It is, and then through the department, we have our FireWise program. Communities can look that up, and we can have our prevention folks come up and help that community become a hardened community with the FireWise program.
And as far as families are concerned and individual residents, evacuation plans, always a good idea.
Evacuate as soon as you can, when the word comes out. just get out of the way. We're just the fires the way they're running now. They can move miles and that. So don't wait till the last minute.
And last question here. We saw Randy with his graphs and everything, and it doesn't look all that good, but doesn't look all that good for a lot of places in the West. Are you concerned about personnel?
We are, we're a small department too, and now when you look at the seasonality of the West, we're going to start. Everybody's going to be starting to burn everywhere, and then we all, as a wildland community, we go from place to place, and with the widespread drought, fire conditions, we're going to be really stretched thin for resources.
But I would imagine there are plans in place and there's schematics are in place.
We got strategic plans, but there's only so much that can go around. So many aircraft, so many ground resources. So yeah, you'll get overwhelmed pretty fast.
John Truitt, Arizona Department of Forestry and Management. John, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Ted.